The Me Too movement has forced businesses and organizations to combat sexual harassment and clean house. Well, now it is Congress's turn. Today, the House passed a bill that makes it easier for victims of sexual harassment to file a complaint. And it also requires members of Congress to pay out of pocket for any sexual harassment settlements. Congresswoman Jackie Speier of California led this fight to change the process for sexual harassment victims. Our Sarah Ganem is following the story for us. So talk to us about what's in this bill and the support it has, Sarah.
Yeah, Michaela, Jackie Speier has been a major voice for change on the Hill during the Me Too movement. And her announcement today essentially will allow for this bill, this bipartisan legislation, to go up for a vote. It could come any time this week. And what this bill would do is amend the Congressional Accountability Act to require that members of Congress who settle sexual harassment claims must pay the settlements themselves, no longer with taxpayer dollars. And in addition to that, it will allow the accusers to file complaints without having to sign a non-disclosure agreement, something we've heard so much about in the last few months. These NDAs that keep people from being able to talk about what they alleged happened to them. Now, there's a lot of support for this bill, a lot of people who say that this is a much needed change, but there are a fair amount of criticisms as well. Some people say that it does not go nearly far enough, and in fact that it limits the ability for victims to file a lawsuit outside of this process on Capitol Hill. It would also require claims to be made under oath, which some say can be pretty problematic because a lot of these allegations don't come with real evidence. It's often a he said, she said situation. Now, all of that said, I'm told that it is expected to pass with unanimous, if not near unanimous support when it does go up for a vote in the House in the next few days.
Well, and it makes you wonder, Sarah, we've been talking a lot about the change that has to happen systemically, but also the change that needs to happen in society and how we interact with one another. And if it's happening in Congress, you have to wonder what the trickle-down effect is, making reporting easier, making people accountable and having to pay out of their own pocket in settlements. I think that's going to get a lot of people's attention.
Well, I also think that it's the reverse as well, right? A lot of people will say that on the Hill, the Me Too movement was sort of secondary to a lot of the reckonings that you saw in private industry. And so these changes, some believe are slower to come into effect. But that said, there is other legislation out there that would change in the big grand scope of things, how we look at these cases in general in the workplace, sexual harassment, not just on the Hill, but in private industry as well. And Jackie Speier has been involved in some of that litigation too.
Yeah, really interesting to see this happening. This movement has traction. It's powerful. It really is. Sarah Ganem, always a delight to talk to you. Thanks for being here.
Of course.